Yo, what's up? What's up, family? This is your brother. This is your servant, Brother Shaft, with a message that will penetrate the soul of all who give it a listen. Did you hear what I said? I said I'm here with a message that will penetrate the very soul of all who are listening. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Shaft Muhammad, affectionately known as your brother and your servant. Affectionately self-described as your brother and your servant, right? I come before you today to talk on a subject matter that I promised some of my Facebook followers and friends that I would come back and talk about, right? And I'm not doing a Facebook Live as I initially thought about when I promised to do it. I'm just shooting a video because I want to be able to share this video via YouTube, all of my social media platforms. I want to be able to get this message out and the series of talks on this particular message. And if you don't know who I am, allow me to introduce myself in how I deliver and the spirit in which I'm delivering, right? And the overall content itself. You know, there's a saying, you can tell a tree by the fruit it bears, right? You can tell a tree by the fruit it bears. This subject matter has everything to do with success. This subject matter has everything to do with success. There was a statement made to me while at the barbershop this past week, getting this beard trimmed up, right? And the gentleman was talking about my son. Just want to give y'all some context of how this message came about in my spirit. And it's amazing how messages come through. I could be having a conversation, as I was earlier today, with a young lady that I look forward to working with her and her husband and mentoring her son. But there are messages that come through just in conversation. Or I could be watching something on TV. It don't matter. You know when you're called to do something, when you're supposed to do something, when it continues to chase you down. And I'm always being chased by powerful subjects like this to share with you. But the gentleman at the barbershop said to me, shout out to my dear beloved brother Rome, who said this about my son. He said that he was programmed for success. It's based on some of the things he's accomplished and done and is doing in his life. Said he's programmed for success, right? And I thought about that as he said it, as messages penetrate me like that. And I said, you know what? What does program really mean? And I agreed with him 100%. He is programmed for success. So if I may talk about this, just being led by the Spirit, right? I looked up a few terms. I wanted to refer to a definition of success that I was privileged to come across in my walk. And so I want to talk about that. What does program for success mean? Like, what are you programmed for? What am I literally programmed for? Are you programmed for success? Am I programmed for success? Are you programmed for success? Am I programmed for success? Or are we programmed for other than success? What is success? Well, there's a lot of definitions out there on success. But there's a gentleman by the name of Earl Nightingale. Though some of you have heard of him. Earl Nightingale is attributed to him, said it this way: success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. The progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. That is his definition of success. And I have some other quotes on success that I could read, right? But I want to deal with a definition of programming, and then you can ask yourself, how are you programmed? I can ask myself, how am I programmed? Y'all ready for this? Hang out with me just a moment. Programming. I just looked up the definition or a definition of programming. Watch this. Programming is the process of giving machines a set of instructions that describe how a program should be carried out. I ask you again, how are you programmed? How are you and I programmed? What's going on? How do you know how you're programmed? What are you carrying out? How are you moving in the world? What are you talking about? What are you saying? How are you saying it? What is your spirit? What is your emotional state most of the time? How are you programmed? Watch this. Programmers will spend. Yeah, there are programmers in the world. There are people in the world. There are forces in the world that understand programming. Programmers will spend their entire life, whole careers, learning a variety of programming languages and tools so they can effectively build, it says here, computer programs. I want you to understand, if you don't get anything else from this message, as the Spirit moves and leads me to talk about whatever I'm supposed to talk about in this message. There is some intentional programming of the heart and mind of human beings all over the planet. So I ask you a question: how are you being programmed? How have you been programmed? And what are you going to do about it? What are we going to do about the programming? The gentleman was the idea or the inspiration for such a message came as a result of someone looking on at my son, watching his evolution, watching his journey, observing his journey, and stated a powerful truth. Man, he's programmed for success. Absolutely. 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 How did that happen? I read a book from time to time, and I have it sitting beside me right now. It's called Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich. I'll plug it. I have no problem with plugging it. In that book, this is going to be a series too. Like hopefully I get over enough in this first video that you'll come back and listen to me talk about it again. In the first chapter of the book, my man talks about Desire. Desire. I'm just using this as an example, my family, my story, my son's story as an example. He had an insatiable desire for success in the area of sport and play, football, also academically. And myself and his mother and all of those true loved ones around him supported that. The desire, the first key to being programmed for success is the desire for whatever one would get after. What is success again? The progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. Worthy, key word right here that I want to extract from that. It deserves to be worthy of you. It should be worthy of you and you of it. There's so many of us on the planet today. We are programmed for things that are totally unworthy of us. Many of you listening to me right now, you don't feel that you are worthy of those things that you would be desirous of, but you don't feel worthy. You don't feel worthy. So because you don't feel worthy, you don't have the faith in it, which is another ingredient that my man talks about in Think and Grow Rich. So if you don't have the faith and a desire, you're not going to get after the desire. So when it was said of my son that he's programmed for success, yes. And many others who are successful. Because the people that are successful decided that, you know what? I know it don't happen overnight. That's why it says here that it is a progressive realization. So there has to be a measure of faith involved. And the successful get after it based on the desire and faith, just a couple of ingredients to get after it and stay after it. And then the programming takes place. Again, I know I'm repeating myself. What are we programmed to do in the world? And I'm here to tell you right now, I know this without a shadow of a doubt. There are those of you that have dreams. You have aspirations. You have things that you would love to do and carry out. You can begin if you have not already. I'm talking to those who are on the fence. You can, if you decide to carry it out, start to program yourself for that success. Understanding and know that, listen, it's already done if you want it. Understanding and knowing that just because you didn't get it done yesterday or day before, last month, last year, you made mistakes. You had some trip ups, like you had some quote unquote failures for those of you who like to use that term. I don't use that term. I don't fail. I learn. I don't fail. I learn. But with all of that, I can begin the process of programming ourselves for success. You can begin the process of programming your children for success. Man, this is a heavy subject that I won't be able to get over in one message. But you can start to program your children for success while in the womb. You have a heavy weight, mothers and fathers. You have a heavy responsibility, mothers and fathers. Especially mother. That's why mother is to be honored and respected and revered so. Because that child is conceived and growing in you. So everything you think about, you're bringing about in that child, in your life, if you persist in the thought and the feeling of that thing. So you can begin to think about and be about some things that you may want that child to be about, think about, be about when they come in the world. And that child, the programming has begun. Upon conception, the programming has begun. So be careful what you take in. Be careful what you allow in. Garbage in, garbage out. Good things in, good things out. Did I just say that one more time? I won't say it again. Understand and know that being programmed for success is an art form. And it has to be an art form now more than ever. I've been talking 17 minutes. I must wrap this up. It's an art. It's a lost art. There are things that I've said in this message that many of you know, but many of you don't know. There are things I'm saying right now that many of you believe and you don't believe. Here's something that you cannot avert. Here's something that you cannot get away from. As a man thinketh in his heart, as a man or woman thinketh in his or her heart, so are they. Try to get away from that. Persist in the thought. Persist in feeling the way you're feeling and watch you get more of that. So we literally are in a position to program however we may, create however we may, create literally on demand, though it may not show up right now. Like you click your remote control and go to a channel on the TV screen or the radio, and it immediately shows up because the programming is already there. We just have to click on it. What channels do you, what channels do I, what channels can we establish in our mind and in our bosom? What type of channeling or programming can we download? And if you want to know what you've downloaded or what has been downloaded in you already, all I have to do is just take a look around at our life and what we are progressively realizing or have realized and are progressively realizing. Is it worthy? Is it a worthy goal or ideal? What do you describe as worthy, Shaft? Is it legal, moral, ethical? And whatever that means to you. I want to encourage you who are listening to the sound of my voice right now. You've been with me for the last 19, 20 minutes. Begin the process of proper programming. Begin the process of proper programming. Once upon a time in my life, there was no or not enough of proper programming. And it landed me in places and positions and realities that were not good. That were not good. That were not good and not desirous. Like, we can be on a road because we're programming, and we know the road is a dead-end road. But our feet is strapped to the gas pedal in our programming. And the only somebody that can take the scrap off of our feet is us. Thank God for awesome mentorship, men and women of love and care. Let me share something with you, talking about programming. People don't care nothing about how much you know until they know how much you care. Some of you have heard it before. So some of us, we take a lot of pride in teaching this and teaching that and showing off our knowledge and insight. But we really don't have the requisite love, the requisite love to transform human life, starting with our own. Right? So I wanted to have my first talk on this. I promised a few of you that I would talk about being programmed for success. It is a thing. Did y'all hear what I said? I said it is a thing. I read something to you here. I read to you the definition that is here for what is programming. It is a thing. Programming is real. If you are on a road that you are not desirous of, because that is the first step in success. And in the book I'm reading, Growing Rich, Thinking and Growing Rich, is desire. What are you desirous of? And is it worthy of you? There it is right there. Is it worthy of you? And if you don't feel worthy, allow your brother and servant right now to encourage you to step up your thinking as it relates to what you are worthy of and what you uniquely deserve. You deserve it. You deserve it. I'll end this message now. Hopefully you all got something out of this, right? This is your brother and servant with an impromptu message, programmed for success. I plan on coming back and talking about it more as I listen to my words and as I get your feedback. I plan on coming back and talking about it more. There are many, many things that I could say, and there are many things you can lend to the conversation. Leave it in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. This is posted or will be posted via my YouTube channel. Many of you are watching it right now via YouTube. Many of you are watching it via Facebook, Instagram. Comment. What are you doing to program yourself for success? What are you doing to program your children for success? Is the desire there for success? And I'm here to tell you, it absolutely is. It is absolutely there. In your own lane, in your own unique way, you desire this success. And what is it again? It is a progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal. Okay? Listen, thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. I am your brother. I am your servant, Brother Shaft. Programmed for success. Peace and blessings.